Welcome to our first literature class, grade 3. I'm Mr. Tilayor. This is the title of our storybook, Peter Pan. Okay, I know you're familiar with the story cartoon, alright? Let's go on. Peter breaks through in one of the prettiest nurseries in the world. Mrs. Darling baited her 3 children and sung to them till one by one they let go her hand and slid away into the land of sleep. The children, Wendy, John, and little Michael, were looking so cozy that their mother sat down tranquilly by the fire to sew. Then her head nodded, and soon she was asleep. Suddenly, the window of the nursery blew open and a boy dropped on the floor. It was accompanied by a strange light, no bigger than your fist, which darted about the room like a living thing. I think it must have been this light that awakened Mrs. Darling. She started up with a cry and saw the boy. He was a lovely boy, clad in green leaves and the juices that ooze out of trees. But the most entrancing thing about him was that he had all his first teeth. When he saw she was a grown-up, he gnashed the little paws at her. Then the second chapter 2, The Shadow. Mrs. Darling screamed, and as if in answer to a bell, the door opened and Nana entered. She had just returned from her evening out. She growled and sprang at the boy, who leaped lightly through the window. Again, Mrs. Darling screamed, this time in distress for him, for she thought it was cute, and she ran down into the street to look for his little body. But it was not there. She looked up, and in the black night, she could see nothing but what she thought was a shooting star. She returned to the nursery and found Nana with something in her mouth, which proved to be the boy's shadow. As the boy leaped at the window, Nana had closed it quickly. It was too late to catch him, but his shadow had not had time to get out. Slam went the window and snapped it off. Mrs. Darling thought of showing the shadow to Mr. Darling, but she knew exactly what he would say. It all comes of having a dog for a nose. She decided to roll the shadow up and put it away carefully in a drawer until a befitting opportunity came for telling her husband. The opportunity came a week later, on that never-to-be-forgotten Friday. Although Mr. Darling was a strong man, there is no doubt that he behaved rather foolishly over the medicine. If he had a weakness, it was for thinking that all his life he had taken medicine boldly. And so, when Michael refused to take his medicine and dodged the spoon in Nana's mouth, he said reprovingly, "Be a man, Michael." "Won't, won't," Michael cried naughtily. To encourage Michael, Wendy said, "That medicine you sometimes take, Father, is much nastier, isn't it?" "Ever so much nastier," Mr. Darling said bravely. And then Wendy had a splendid idea. "Why not take both? Why not both take it at the same time?" "Certainly," said Mr. Darling. "Are you ready, Michael?" Wendy said the words, 1, 2, 3, and Michael took his medicine. But Mr. Darling slipped his behind his back. There was a yell of rage from Michael. "Oh, Father!" Wendy exclaimed. It was dreadful the way all the three children were looking at him, just as if they did not admire him. "Look here, all of you," he said entreatingly as Nana went out of the room. "I have just thought of a splendid joke. I shall pour my medicine into Nana's bowl, and she will drink it, thinking it is milk." And he poured the medicine into Nana's bowl. "I have poured a little milk in your bowl, Nana," he told Nana as she returned. Nana wagged her tail, ran to the medicine, and began lapping it. Then she gave Mr. Darling such a look, not an easy one. Rather, she showed him not an angry one, not an angry look at all. Rather, she showed him great red tear that makes us so sorry for noble dogs, and crept into her kennel. All the children were grieved at their dear nurse being tricked so. Then Wendy hugged Nana to console her. At this, Mr. Darling grew angry. "That's right," he shouted. "Cuddle her. Nobody cuddles me. Oh dear no." And dragging Nana from the nursery, he tied her up in the backyard. In the meantime, Mrs. Darling put the children to bed and kissed them good night. Then she began to get ready for a party she and Mr. Darling were attending, although half-heartedly. A little later, when Mr. and Mrs. Darling had left for the party, the smallest of all the stars in the Milky Way screamed out, "Now, Peter!"